Hello, and welcome to the show that's more awkward family dinner than it is sexy sleepover. A deep dive into the age of consent laws across 20 different countries. We're talking about a topic more sensitive than a cat who just realized you used their favorite blanket to clean up vomit. The laws that dictate when someone is legally capable of consenting to sexual activity. Now, you might be thinking, Adewale, why? Why subject us to this? Well, my friends, knowledge is power, even when it's about the frankly bizarre tapestry of laws that govern something as natural as, well, we'll be exploring the legal age for sexual consent in each country, the laws guiding these regulations, and because no law exists in a vacuum, some cultural context as well. So strap in, grab a beverage, non-alcoholic, obviously, because this is serious stuff, and let's get started. The United Kingdom, land of tea, crumpets, and a bit of a legal grey area with the age of consent. The general age of consent in the UK is 16, but it gets murky with close-in-age exceptions in England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. These exceptions create a legal buffer for teens close in age. In England and Wales, a 15-year-old can engage with someone under 18. This mishmash reflects the UK's struggle to balance protection and teenage relationships. Well, if it isn't the good old US of A, a country that loves freedom so much it applies it even to the age at which one can legally consent to sex. Just kidding. It's far more complicated than that. While most states have settled on 18 as the age of consent, the legal landscape looks more like a patchwork quilt than a unified code. Take, for instance, the Romeo and Juliet laws, which exist in some form in over half of US states. These laws allow for some leniency in age differences in teenage relationships. Each state has its own specific age range and age difference limits, creating a legal labyrinth that's enough to make even the most diligent legal scholar throw their hands up in defeat. This legal patchwork reflects the country's decentralized structure and its ongoing debate about balancing individual liberties with the protection of minors. It's a conversation fraught with complexities and, frankly, one that we could spend hours dissecting. Dubai, the glittering oasis in the desert, known for its soaring skyscrapers and luxurious shopping. The age of consent in Dubai is 18, as per the UAE Penal Code. However, Sharia law adds complexity, recognizing marriage as the only permissible context for sexual relations. Chapter 4. Germany, where consent is king, or at least it tries to be. Germany, land of beer, pretzels, and a refreshingly straightforward approach to the age of consent. Here, the magic number is 14, making it one of the lowest in Europe. Germany takes a protection through information approach, emphasizing comprehensive sex education that begins in early childhood. The idea is that by arming young people with knowledge about their bodies, relationships, and consent, they'll be better equipped to make responsible choices as they navigate the choppy waters of puberty and beyond. Chapter 5. France, liberté, égalité, and a side of consent confusion. France, land of romance and fine wine, had a vague stance on the age of consent. For years, laws prohibited sexual relations with minors under 15. In 2021, France set 15 as the age of consent, aligning with Europe. They also allowed a close-in-age exception for minors over 13. Chapter 6. Italy. When it comes to consent, it's complicated and a little bit spicy. Italy, land of pasta, pizza, and a legal system that's about as easy to navigate as the canals of Venice. The age of consent in Italy is 14, but attenuating circumstances can affect legal outcomes. This means the court may not charge someone if the relationship is consensual and the age gap is small. Chapter 7. Spain, land of fiery flamenco dancing and delicious tapas, has a surprisingly progressive approach to the age of consent. In 2015, Spain raised its age of consent from 13 to 16. This aligned it with the European Union average. The change aimed to protect minors from exploitation. Chapter 8. The Netherlands, land of tulips, windmills, and a surprisingly pragmatic approach to the age of consent. Here, the legal age for sexual activity is 16, but the Dutch approach goes beyond simply setting an arbitrary number. The Netherlands places a strong emphasis on comprehensive sex education starting at a young age. Children are taught about relationships, consent and sexual health in an age-appropriate manner, empowering them to make informed choices as they grow older. This progressive approach to sex education has been widely praised for contributing to the Netherlands' relatively low rates of teenage pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections. Chapter 9. Sweden, land of ABBA, meatballs and a steadfast commitment to sexual liberation approaches consent with a clarity that's as refreshing as a dip in the Stockholm archipelago. The age of consent in Sweden is 15, but their approach goes beyond simply drawing a line in the sand. Sweden prides itself on its comprehensive sex education program, which starts in early childhood and tackles everything from healthy relationships to consent to sexual diversity. This approach, rooted in the belief that knowledge is power, empowers individuals to make informed choices about their bodies and relationships. But Sweden goes further than just education. Chapter 9. Sweden, land of ABBA, meatballs and sexual liberation. Consent here is as clear as a dip in the archipelago. The age of consent is 15, but Sweden goes beyond just laws. Comprehensive sex education starts early, covering relationships, consent and diversity. Knowledge empowers informed choices. Norway, land of majestic fjords and captivating folklore, has a firm stance on consent. The age of consent is 16, protecting minors and ensuring consensual encounters. Rooted in self-determination, everyone has the right to make choices about their body. No one can be coerced into sexual activity. Norway has strict laws against child sexual abuse, with severe consequences for offenders. Denmark, land of hygge, happiness, and a refreshingly holistic approach to the age of consent. The legal age for sexual activity in Denmark is 15, but the country's approach goes beyond simply setting a numerical boundary. Denmark places a strong emphasis on comprehensive sex education starting in primary school. Through age-appropriate and inclusive curricula, children are taught about relationships, consent, and sexual health, empowering them to make informed decisions as they navigate the complexities of adolescence and adulthood. But Denmark's commitment to consent doesn't stop at education. Belgium, land of chocolate, waffles, and a clear stance on the age of consent. The legal age for sexual activity in Belgium is 16, and the legal framework protects minors and ensures consent. Belgium's approach is grounded in individual autonomy, recognizing the right to control one's own body. Any sexual activity with someone below 16 is a criminal offense. Belgium also has strict laws against child pornography and exploitation. The country is committed to protecting minors from sexual abuse. Switzerland, land of towering mountains and political neutrality, has a measured approach to the age of consent. The legal age is 16, protecting minors and acknowledging adolescent relationships. Rooted in informed decision-making, it deters abuse and considers each case's specifics, emphasizing prevention and education on healthy relationships and sexual health. Austria, land of classical music and breathtaking scenery. The age of consent in Austria is 14. The law criminalizes sexual acts with minors when the perpetrator is in a position of authority. Austria also has robust laws against child pornography and sexual abuse. Portugal, land of soulful fado music and delectable pastel de nata. The age of consent is 16, ensuring protection for the young. Portugal's laws combat sexual coercion and child abuse. Greece, the cradle of Western civilization with its ancient myths and evolving values. The age of consent in Greece is 15, aligning with many European countries. Greece's legal framework deters abuse and ensures consensual encounters. The country has strict laws against rape and child sexual abuse. Greece has improved support services for victims of sexual violence. Poland, land of hearty pierogies, unwavering solidarity and a firm stance on consent. The age of consent is 15, protecting minors from exploitation. All encounters must be based on mutual agreement. Poland's laws deter abuse and hold perpetrators accountable. Strict laws against rape, sexual assault and child abuse. Awareness programs promote healthy relationships and respect. Chapter 18, Hungary, a land of flavorful goulash and rich history. Hungary is committed to protecting minors from sexual exploitation. The age of consent is 14, with laws addressing power dynamics in relationships. Specific laws criminalize acts by those in authority, and strict measures combat child sexual abuse and pornography. Chapter 19. The Czech Republic, land of fairy tale castles and world-renowned beer and a no-nonsense approach to consent. The age of consent is 15, reflecting the need for legal protection. The legal framework deters abuse and ensures consensual encounters. Strict laws against rape, sexual assault and child abuse. The Czech Republic promotes healthy relationships and consent. Chapter 20, Finland, land of saunas sisu, that untranslatable Finnish grit, and a strong emphasis on the importance of consent. The age of consent in Finland is 16. All sexual encounters must be based on mutual agreement. Finland's approach to consent is rooted in self-determination. The legal framework deters abuse and holds perpetrators accountable. Comprehensive measures combat child sexual abuse. Thank you for joining me on this whirlwind tour of age of consent laws across 20 countries. I know, it wasn't pretty. Some countries are out here acting like consent is an optional side dish, while others are desperately trying to untangle centuries of legal knots. But here's the thing, regardless of where you are in the world, consent matters. These laws, as flawed and confusing as they may be, are ultimately in place to protect individuals, particularly minors, from exploitation and abuse.